I guess I have my choice.
Yeah, please,
take the middle.
whichever you're comfortable with. Okay, so perhaps to set the scene, last year you talked about your changing approach to partnerships. What have you learnt since then in the past year?
Good question. I think some of the things that Spencer was just talking about, right? It's for those of you who were here last year, and first of all, thank you very much for having me again. Last year we talked about how we did change our fundamental approach to TV. Right? Before we allowed our partners, Samsung, LG, to build our app on their platforms, basically for performance reasons. Right? We wanted it to be the optimal performing application on that system. The problem is we lost control of it. We couldn't guarantee all of the content would be on the platform, all the features that our users were used to. So we changed to this approach where we wanted every application on TV to be essentially owned and operated by YouTube, full-featured, updatable, monetizable. And all of those were important, right? We need to be able to update a feature. We need our users to have a consistent experience. We need our partners to be able to monetize, right? To all of that content that's coming to you and allow them to put advertising against it. And we rolled that out in the first, I guess, with 2012 TVs, we saw our first implementations of it, much more in 2013 and clearly in 2014. And it's been a huge learning experience for us. I can't say that we knocked it out of the park immediately. I can give, the growth has been tremendous, but we're starting from a base of 0. So of course that growth will be a tremendous percentage number. Overall, still a small part of what we're seeing on YouTube, but growing at a terrific clip. When you look at the big learnings, it's tough. It's very tough to bring someone what they want to watch. I'd compare it to being a DJ at a party. Only a DJ has to work with music, right? A relatively small corpus of music. And if you're at a particular party, let's say you're a top 40 party, that further reduces what you want to watch. I think that we need to do a better job of providing the user with a differentiated and entertaining experience. Even I, sitting at home, have trouble finding the next thread on YouTube of what I want to watch on my TV. I think it happens to a lot of us when we're watching even YouTube on the PC. Our struggle is not only do we have a wide genre to choose from, you don't want to just listen to or watch a particular comedy video or comedy videos for 5 hours straight. Right? You want something that's mixed in there. You want variety. How do we do a good job of that? Secondly, we're getting 100 hours of new video every single minute. How do we incorporate that into what you're watching? The vast majority of it probably isn't useful to you. But every so often there's a video, whether it be the next Gangnam Style or Harlem Shake, that we see suddenly trending. How do we incorporate that into your mix so you didn't feel that you were missing out and that you've got a great recommendation? I think those would be our big themes. I think we've moved beyond the technology piece that Spencer was talking about. We are based on HTML5, and then working towards what the user actually wants to watch, and can we provide a terrific experience on the TV.
Okay, so that matches, I think, what players across the TV value chain are finding, that we run a survey every year, and for the past 2 years, content discovery and recommendation has come out as the #1 challenge the industry faces. So perhaps you could dive a bit deeper into how you think you're going to improve the content discovery experience on YouTube.
There's a couple of ways. Obviously, getting to know our users. We're not, how do we put this? We don't know who's watching, right? If you're signed in on your mobile phone, that's terrific. Often, these users aren't signed in on their TV. So we're going for a general thread of what they've picked out on their content. If we're signed in, we can provide a much better experience. When you look at the opportunities that this new television experience provides, we are clearly at the infancy. I mean, this last presentation was all about how do you design an app for the second screen? How can they play against each other? It's almost like 10 years ago when we were talking about how do you design a web page for the internet, for the PC. We are still quite young. And there are some unique experiences that we have to recognize. Binge viewing, right? How terrific is binge viewing for us? I mean, I can suck up an entire season in a weekend, right? Of whatever show whatever show I'm interested in. That is a unique phenomenon to this new technology that we're offering. On the other hand, it also offers terrific new opportunities around in the social space. Event-based viewing, I think, will grow tremendously for us. Live TV on YouTube is becoming more and more common. We recently dropped the threshold. We used to have this live TV program, actually. In fact, my team was core to leading this, allowing live streaming on YouTube. And it really was about big partners and big events. It was the Olympics. It was a music program. It was a sporting event. Over the last year, we've dropped that requirement. Anyone in this room with a YouTube account can now live stream from their home, right? That provides everyone, of any interest, an ability to broadcast and be seen by everyone. We think that live will become increasingly important, particularly in the TV space, as you get niche interests and people gathering together to watch a particular program that may not be broadcast live on cable TV.
Okay, so it sounds like you're moving into some areas which are the more familiar turf of traditional TV players. I mean, are there any lessons that you think you could learn from them around curation, scheduling, promotion?
I think the biggest lesson we've learned is the importance of that APG guide. Right? How I don't know how many of you, anybody enjoy flipping through channels, or just pick up the TV remote, turn on your TV, and flip through. That's an amazing way to discover new programs. One of the challenges we face is speed. Right? How do we become faster on the network? There's no greater indicator of you watching another YouTube video than how quickly you received that first video and the quality in which you received it. That's simply it. If you sit around and you watch the spinny little buffering thing, you get frustrated, you go back to whatever it was that you were reading on your mobile phone or watching on your TV. The speed at which you receive that video is key. And it would be, I think a dream would be to be able to have you flip through your YouTube videos. Just quickly, almost instantly have them appear every single time that you press the forward button or switch between playlists. That's something that we're moving towards.
Okay, when you start talking about eliminating buffering, and probably quite a few network operators in the room whose eyes are lighting up, they're thinking perhaps we could charge YouTube for this in some way. I mean, what value do you think network operators can bring to YouTube when they generally think of you as a over-the-top player who just rides over the top of their networks?
I'd say that they're fantastic partners, honestly. I think we have some great partnerships out there, and whether it be in mobile or in TV, we've developed some strong partnerships across the world. We've launched with Vodafone here in Europe, operators in Japan, operators in Korea. We have a number of partnerships in the way in the IPTV space that I'm very excited about. So in talking about it, I don't want to talk about them as they, because they're our partners, and they're fantastic. Two parts of that ecosystem. Right? There's if you want to deliver video faster and a particular amount of data, you could either make that pipe bigger, right? And you actually, it's network investment and something we don't control. There's also another concept, which is you shrink the data. Right? If the pipe isn't big enough, shrink the water itself, which is an effort that we've undertaken with VP9 and adoption of new codecs. So for those of you who are not familiar, the VP9 codec is about twice as efficient as H.264. So it's about half the bandwidth that it takes to deliver a particular stream. And this is not only important for HD or 4K data, but really even your 360p video that you're going to watch on your phone, that you're going to watch on your PC. It essentially gets it there faster. I was trying to find a way to explain it properly, and over the holidays, we made a lot of announcements around VP9 at CES this year. And it came to me while packing my family car for the Christmas holiday. We were going down to visit my parents in San Diego, and I had my wife's things, I had my things, I had my daughter's things, and it just completely filled up the trunk of the car. I mean, it's just, when you're packing this stuff in and you're pushing down on the trunk, and it wouldn't be great if you could just suck it down to half and then just repurpose it at the end. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with VP9. It's trying to be a better partner in the ecosystem. We've had terrific adoption. across the device space. In mobile, it's a software update. Same thing for the PC. Chrome now supports VP9. We see this in the mobile applications as well with YouTube. In the hardware space, and TV, our focus today, we announced, I believe, 19 partners at CES. All of the major chipset manufacturers, all of the major OEMs will be supporting VP9 codec in the hardware, starting from 2015 forward. So that means a wonderful opportunity for us to bring that speed to your TV experience.
Okay. I mean, speaking of which, we very much saw when Netflix announced that it was going to be rolling out 4K content, that was it, saying to the industry, we're not only as good as traditional TV, we can be better. I was wondering, with your initiatives, how much you see the move to 4K and Ultra HD being driven by players outside of the traditional TV and broadcast value chain?
That's a great question. By the way, these are spontaneous questions, so this is not stuff that we did before, so I'm being put on the spot, which is great. I think the driver really will be from the manufacturers. For those of you who experience 4K, you quickly get used to it. It's a wonderful experience, and you get this wonderful picture, very rich colors, almost looks 3D. It's so good. Our job is one to support the uptake and the content creator in that, and we started to see it among our content creators as 4K cameras have become more reasonable. That content is an increasing amount of our uploads. I think you'll see a push, but I don't think the broadcasters are actually left out of this system. I think you'll see them move very, very quickly, particularly in events like sporting events, where the